Your first film camera is important. Sometimes it's a family heirloom or a hand-me-down. It's a camera you bought for a trip to capture memories with, or you saw one of your favorite artists using it and it inspired you to pick up film photography. So today at CineStill HQ, we're gonna check out everyone's first film camera. Ask them when and where they got it, what makes it special, and any additional details they'd like to tell us about it. Whether that's favorite photos, favorite memories they have with it. And we're gonna start with the man behind the digital camera today, Arvin. Come on up here. I know you've got a first film camera you want to show off.
Well, 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 look who got asked to be back on the show. Yeah, my first film camera is this precious Mamiya 500 TL. It's M42 mount, goes up to 1/500th, and yeah, it is possibly a camera I probably used like twice before I started buying more and more cameras and have an unhealthy addiction to buying film cameras. But this little mechanical marvel was kind of what got me into film. Yeah, what got me into film. Linus, can you pop up some photos? I have some for you. Yeah, but that's about it. Mamiya, can't go wrong. Happy holidays. Look at it.
So my name's Emmalee Garcia. I'm the Director of Purchasing here at CineStill Film. My first camera was the Pentax K1000, which was a staple in almost every student darkroom when you were taking photo 101. So this is one of the first cameras that was handed to me when I took my first class, and I still have it to this day. It's got a nice 35mm lens on there, and it's not my go-to camera every time now, but this is a camera that stands the test of time, and I know stands a lot of students.
Hello everybody, Dan from CineStill Film here. Not an update. This is an entirely different video. Today we're talking about first cameras, was it? So I have brought this lovely little beauty right here. It's the Nikon FE. This one isn't my first camera. My first camera died. So instead of digging it up from the graveyard and bringing it in some sort of like gross, horrible way, Arvin has lent me his. But still, fantastic little camera. I think it's probably, I've taken my favorite images ever with the FE. What I like about it is it has a great number of selections for shutter speed. Most of them come with this really beautiful 50 1.8. They're still pretty affordable, which is huge for me, because when I bought this camera, I was totally brand new to film. And I think I got mine for like, gee whiz, I don't know if I want to say the price because it was like ridiculous though, but it was like under $100 on eBay. Bought it, loaded it with whatever film I could find at like a CVS, and just started shooting. And then from there, it really helped me learn. I think part of why it helped me learn film photography so well was because of its light meter, the way that it's handled inside this particular guy. So it's got this cute little like little LED system along the side. Really easy to just use, really easy to like kind of build your natural kind of understanding of where light is and how to meter for it. And yeah, it's just super cool. It's really small. I can kind of just like palm it. I remember putting it in like a big coat traveling. Super easy to carry around, super light. Yeah, solid little camera. A lot of good memories with a little FG. So yeah, if you're thinking of getting one, just go get one. They're super cool. I think they're still pretty cheap as well. That's about it, really. Love this little guy.
My first film camera is the Mamiya RV67. It is a 6x7 medium format film camera with this beautiful focusing bellows. This is a very special camera to me. This camera is not my actual first film camera, but this is the first film camera model I ever owned. I've been using this camera on and off since 2018, 2019 for portraits, a lot of the time in the studio, locked off on a tripod. One of my favorite things about this camera is the ease of making a double exposure. It's as simple as just switching one dial on the film back. One of the coolest things about this camera, as it is modular, is you can just take this 120 film back off and you can put anything else on it you'd like. What do I mean by that? This right here is a custom instant film back for Instax film. It's called a Frankenstax. And like I mentioned earlier, I love making double exposures. So what I do is I shoot Instax square film with this Instax back. I line up a double exposure, I shoot it on instant film to make sure I'm doing it right, and then I shoot it on 120 film with this back, all of the exact same settings. It's just a really cool experience. I actually brought a bunch of my Instax film that I shot on the Mamiya RV67 with the Frankenstax back to kind of just show how cool it is that not only is this my favorite medium format film camera currently, it's also my favorite instant film camera. It's a really cool dual use of a camera from the 60s. This may be a pretty big jump for a first film camera, as it is a medium format camera where you only get 10 shots a roll and it's very cumbersome and heavy, but I'm really glad I started with this because as someone who's been shooting for 6 or 7 years now, I still use it as one of my main camera bodies. And that's the coolest thing about your first film camera. It doesn't have to be just an introduction. It can be something you use for years to come. Mamiya RV67 is my first film camera.
My first film camera comes from the mines of Minolta, 1981 European Camera of the Year, X700. This was actually my father's camera. He bought this in 1981, so this has virtually taken all my childhood photos. I took my first film camera course in college and he gave this to me and it's been with me ever since. Love this thing, it's light, the lenses are great, the screen is minimal but has everything you need. Never really had to lust after Nikons or Canons or anything, so my first and probably last SLR.
Okay, I'm back because it's time to hear from Jared at CineStill Midwest. Jared, take it away. What was your first film camera?
Hey, thanks, Linus. My first film camera was my grandma's Pentax K1000. It really holds a lot of sentimental value to me. I carried it all through high school and all through undergrad. This is the camera that I teach all of my friends who want to learn film photography, how to shoot film on. It's just a really great camera and it holds an extremely near and dear place in my heart. It sits right on my shelf right next to all of my other collectible cameras, and I really probably should shoot with this thing more. I haven't taken it out in a few years, so I think it's time to load a roll of 400D and go out and shoot some film.
Hi, I'm Sari. I'm doing design in CineStill. I want to tell you the story about my first film camera. Okay, this is the Rollei 35 SE. I was always around the camera and collaboratively shot like medium and large format camera with my photographer husband. But none of those camera, I want to have it because those camera is like super impractical. So I always be in a quest of like the smallest camera ever. And I found this camera in the internet. I know that I've got to have it. I'll call it like a 3x camera. And it's so tiny. The idea that I can carry it everywhere is just, I'm sold. One little story about this camera is my first initial shot with this camera is also my first CineStill 800T shot. It came out kind of magical and almost like a cast a spell on me that I want to create like a more moments and memory with this camera. So it's like a love at first shot. I'm still kind of learning how to shoot this camera and learning about everything and all the weird feature in this camera, the zone focus and everything. And yeah, it's my first film camera. Bye.
Okay, I'm Henry, work in warehouse and fulfillment, and my first film camera is actually the Canon AT1, not the AE1. I have one of those also, but the AT1. And I think the main difference is it doesn't have the shutter priority or some of the auto modes that the AE1 has. Pretty much the story with this one is I had a friend who was a business owner when I first was in LA, and I was working actually in finance before I quit that job and went to pursue photography in school. I was telling him about my interest in photography, and he was like, yo, I have a camera. I was like, oh, cool. You shoot it? He was like, no, if you want, I could bring it to you. And I was like, well, yeah, because my camera at that time was only a iPhone. It was an iPhone 6. So shows you what date we were dealing with. But yeah, one day he brought in a sandwich bag, brown sandwich bag, and I pulled this out. And I was like, whoa. Came with the 50 1.8. I had no clue what I was gonna do with it, but I just knew it looked really good. And yeah, I started shooting with this and I still love it. Just need to fix the battery compartment door here. But yeah, this is my first film camera.
Hi, I'm Fred Stoverink, head of professional wrestling here at CineStill, and I have been around for too long to remember what my first camera was for 35, but I thought it might be a cool thing for me to show you what my first 120 camera was, which was very recent. A friend of mine gave me this Zeiss Super Iconta 530, and it's just about the most compact little 120 camera you've ever seen. It was super clean, and I love it. I recently shot 400D in it, and I love what came out. And as you can see, it's very small for a 120 camera. But the lens is just absolutely meticulous. Everything is clean on the inside, and I can carry it around in my pocket. So I don't think I've seen a smaller 120 camera. I'm sure they exist, but I don't know if you'd find one that works as well as this. I also love the fact that it's got the little kickstand, so that you can set it up like that, you know, because I don't have steady hands, not really. So, and to put it away, it's kind of fun. It's like playing with a transformer when you were a kid. There it is. Carl Zeiss, Super Iconta 530.
Okay, let's take it overseas and hear from Giulia, who's based in Berlin, Germany.
Hi Linus, hello from Berlin. So my first camera was the Minolta XE5. Took me a while to remember which of the million models of Minolta it was. And it was such a great camera to start with because first of all, I got it super cheap from eBay. I picked it up not far from where I was living here in Berlin. I literally just like moved there. So everything was super new for me. And that camera is the first one I used to, you know, go out, take pictures, explore my surroundings, get to know the city of Berlin. And of course also experiment a lot with film, with lenses. I was super lucky that I got such a good deal. It was, I think, 50 euros for the camera with 3 lenses. And it was in perfect condition. So I had so much fun using it, and it's super simple to use. You literally have a built-in light meter and everything else is super straightforward. You just need to figure out the right aperture that you want to use and set the ISO of the film and the exposure time. And it's really easy to use. It's not even that heavy or bulky. For me, it was really just perfect, I would say. And the quality is also really good for the price you can get such a camera. So I really recommend, in general, like Minolta SLRs are such a great starter, I think, for anyone that wants to get used to shooting with manual cameras and try out, you know, manual focusing and deciding which aperture you want to use depending on the subjects and so on. So yeah, it was a great one to start with. I'm kind of sad I don't have it anymore, to be honest, because it is really fun to shoot. I love the sound that it makes. I still remember that. So yeah, that's all for me. Bye.
Hey, I'm Alex, and this is my first film camera. It's the Olympus Stylus Epic. Started off with point and shoots before I moved on to SLRs and medium format cameras, but I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for point and shoots.
Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Brandon.
And this is our first film camera. So I think we found our first film camera in a closet, and it was our dad's old camera. It was the Olympus OM1, and he'd had it probably since he married my mom. And we were trying to figure out how to use it, and he showed us, and then he got us the instruction manual to look through, and we just started taking photographs of each other, skateboarding and things like that, taking our film to the 1 hour photo, or trying to figure out how to process it ourselves.
Doing skate videos with a mini DV camera, VHS cassette tapes. So though we didn't pick our first film camera, it just kind of fell into our laps. We found it. The OM1 is still one of our favorite film cameras. Mine personally. It's so light, so small, super bright, large viewfinder, amazing optics.
Yeah, the Zucchio optics are really sharp and really nice coatings. I think they had some of the finest coatings of the day.
Yeah.
And yes, some of my earliest photographs are taken on this camera with this lens, or I think we had like a 24mm as well.
Yeah.
And that was all before we got into like some Nikon gear and stuff, which I love Nikon cameras too, but nothing beats this Olympus OM1 viewfinder.
Yeah. I think my favorite camera to shoot today is probably the Leica M2, but this is a close second. Both of them are incredibly simple. You have your aperture, you have your shutter speed, no meter, just, you know, shoot.
All right, now we've got Andre based in North Carolina, which is where I'm from. Andre, first of all, I miss you. I hope you're holding it down for me there, and I would love to hear what your first film camera is. Please take it away.
Thanks, Linus. Miss you too, man. My first film camera was a black Nikon FE that I bought my freshman year of college. Sadly, I don't still own it, so thank you to Arvin for including some B-roll. One of the things I loved most about the FE was the match needle metering system. In the viewfinder, there's two needles, one that shows you what shutter speed you're at, and the other one that shows you the shutter speed that the camera thinks you should be at according to the aperture and ISO. For some reason, this really helped me wrap my head around the exposure triangle when I was first starting to learn how to shoot film, and I brought this camera with me to countless countries, documenting my travels and really deepening my love for analog photography. I've included a few examples here, some images that I'm proud of, and I think I'm gonna end up getting another one because it's just that good. I feel like it would be going back to my roots, my fundamentals. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, Randy from CineStill here with my first film camera that I got from my dad. It's a Minolta SRT 200, about from the mid-70s. I started using this camera when I signed up for a photography class at my community college in about 2006 or something. And it was just kind of sitting there in this cabinet, and my dad's like, yeah, why don't you use this? And I was like, whoa. First thing, I was like, this thing is so heavy, but it's great. It's like metal, it's mechanical, and it's all manual, so it was a great camera to learn on. And I immediately started taking it out. One of my best memories I have is just going out to the desert in Ocotillo and just taking a bunch of photos of some like off-roading events and just having a great time. And I still have it, and it still works. So it was a great first camera.
All right, it's time to hear from the folks at CineStill East in Rochester, New York. Steve, Lou, and Mollie are all based up there in the cold northern part of New York. Take it away, Steve. Let's hear what your first film camera was.
Thanks, Linus. I'm here in CineStill East with Lou and Mollie over here. We're working away in the sun. It's really nice and sunny, but it is also very cold. It's like 20 degrees. Not ideal. First film camera that I ever bought was actually the Canon QL17. I talk about this more in our favorite film camera video that we put out a couple years ago, so you could probably click somewhere over here to see more about that. But that's not the one I'm talking about today. I want to talk about Canon AE1 program. This one, which is the first film camera I ever had. Not this exact one. First one I ever had was actually my mom's, which I think she got as a gift in high school, and then it made its way to my sister. And then from there, I got it from her when my sister moved to Australia, I think. A few years ago, I gifted it back to my sister because I loved that it was just like my mom's camera before, so I wanted her to have it. When I did that, I realized I missed having a Canon AE1, and I really love these cameras, so I went and got this one, and I really like the all black version. The one that my sister now has is silver and black, so this is really nice to have. I feel like the AE1 program is a great camera to first learn film on. It just has a lot of really great auto settings, but then you can also switch to manual. The program mode is really helpful. Over the years, I've then also started buying different lenses for this. So this is a 28 2.8. I always would use a 50 on it prior to that. And I think that's a really common setup to have AE1 with a 50 millimeter, but the 28 really has expanded my love for the camera and just what you could do with it and how you could shoot it. In there right now, I have 800T at 1600. I was shooting the Aurora Borealis, which was here in Rochester just a couple months ago. Have not finished the roll. I should probably finish the roll and get it developed and see how that looks. But it's a really great camera to first learn on. I love it. So yeah, that's my first film camera. I highly recommend it. It's a great starter camera. But let's hear from Lou and Mollie. Mollie, you want to go next? Okay, we're gonna go downstairs and go find Lou, who is probably in the studio shooting some photos. So let's switch to Lou. All right, we're gonna go see what Lou's working on in the studio. Hey, Lou.
Yo.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Is this your first film camera right here?
This is not my first film camera. This is actually your camera, Steve. But thank you for letting me use it when I ask.
Sure, yeah. Then it must be this one then.
I did. I brought in my film camera. First film camera I ever used is actually my grandfather's Pentax P3. My favorite part about it is that he was the 1995 Shell Team Player of the Year, so gotta have that. It's kept in amazing condition from the time that he was using it to now. I think because my dad got it after he passed, and so he kept it great too. I got to use this in high school with a 50mm, as every starter photographer uses. And so it was only after I stopped using it in college and went on to something like a Canon EOS line that my dad got it back. And then apparently he slapped on a 28 to 80mm here with it. And ever since I started working at CineStill, he's been capturing a little bit of photos himself too. So there's a roll of 400D in here that he put in here as well. I think on screen, you're going to show some pictures that I did actually grab out of this camera from my high school and early college days. So yeah, this is awesome. After handling this again for this video, it makes me kind of want to put another roll through that. So I'm going to go find my dad's 50mm, go slap that right back on, and then bring it back here for some more photos. So yeah, I think that's it. Do we want to go check and see what Mollie's first film camera is?
I think that's a good idea. We'll go up there. All right, thanks.
Welcome back to our CineStill East HQ office. It is indeed a sunny day. We're going to tell you about my favorite camera, my first camera. This is the Pentax ZXM. It's a camera my dad bought for my siblings and I for our high school photography classes. So secret's out. Sorry to my sister and my brother. I am still holding on to this. It's an awesome camera to learn on, especially working with CineStill. I'm still learning a lot, so the team has been awesome in helping me learn to shoot more film. I picked up this camera about 5 years ago. I went out to the Oregon coast with this awesome group of female photographers called Film Camp, and they really helped me pick it back up and learn film again. So shout out to those gals. I took some of my favorite pictures of the Oregon coast out there, so I'm gonna show you a few. I'm kind of looking at them right now. So all in all, my favorite memories on this camera, I think it's why it's my favorite. Family vacations at Kiowa Island, weddings, you name it, national parks. I've taken this everywhere. And I think every time I go on a trip, I look at all my cameras. I've got my Canon EOS, my Nikon, but for some reason, I always come back to this one. It's easy to throw in my bag, easy to throw in my purse, easy for a carry-on. And I love pulling it out for all those moments when you're just looking around, having a good time with friends and family. So I always come back to this, but easy and lightweight. And right now I've got some 400D. I just kind of like throwing a roll in and see what happens.
And there you have it, y'all. That is everybody at CineStill's first film camera. Please, 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 in the comments down below, let us know what your first film camera was, and do not spare any expense. Let us know the juicy details on what got you into it, what makes that camera special to you, and why you continue to shoot film today. From everyone here at CineStill, happy holidays, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Linus. Peace out.